everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you'd like, and today we are picking my March TBR, and I am so excited. I have already started doing a little bit of planning some prep work for my March TBR. Specifically, I have already picked out the books I will be reading for my series slasher vlog, and I could not be more excited, but we're not going to talk about that here. You'll have to check out that video when it comes out to see what I'm reading, which series I will be continuing. But I do still have 3 different ways that I will be picking out TBR books in this video, so without any further ado, let's just start talking about them. So the first way I pick my TBR each month is with book clubs, and I am part of 2 different book clubs. The first is the Nostalgia Train book club hosted by my dear friend Violet, and in March we will be reading The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This is a spoiler alert for my February wrap-up, but I have recently DNF'd Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, so I'm a little bit nervous going into Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is completely unfounded because A, they are completely different books, and B, I've read Perks of Being a Wallflower before. I really loved it when I read it. I think I first read it in high school and then I read it again in college, so it's been many years, but I did really enjoy it, and I also really loved the movie. So I don't know why I'm nervous going off of DNFing a completely different book just because it's by the same author, but that's where we are right now. The other book club I am part of is my own book club, the Honeybee Society. This is a book club where we read one dark academia book every 2 months, and the pick for March and April is Bunny by Mona Awad. So I will try and get to it in March. If not, there is still April, so it's on the TBR, but it's not the highest priority because I do have 2 months to read it. The second way that I will be picking out my TBR for March is by focusing on some different hrcyed prompts. hrcyed stands for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. This is hosted by Q over at the channel QWERTY, and it runs from July to June of the next year, so we are more than halfway through. There are 25 different challenges on a bingo board, so it is a lot of work, hence why it's the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, and I have only finished 3 of those 25 challenges, but if we look at the number of books I have to read, I am still on track to do that. I just haven't completed more prompts. I'm just reading like a couple for each prompt, and I need to start checking more of them off. So I'll be picking 3 of the prompts I have not yet completed to focus on in March, and if I can read 1 book from each of them, that would be fantastic. If I could complete some of them, that would be even better. But I've got this cute little jar, and there are slips of paper inside. We are going to pull 3 of them. So first, we'll give it a little bit of a shake, and see what hrcyed prompts I will be focusing on. First one is here. We have, the animals. This one, I believe I've read 3 of the 5, so I've only got 2 more to go. That should be doable to at least read 1 of them. I think, as far as I'm aware, the 2 that I have left, I want to read The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd-Jones, which is a reread. I think I've read it twice before already, so that would be easy. And the other one is Shark Heart, which I know is going to be absolutely devastating, but I'm still very excited to pick up. The second hrcyed focus, actually the second and third, because I've got 2 here, so we might as well just do these 2 after I just drop it in my lap. So this one says translations. I think I also have done 2 out of the 5 for this challenge. I think, yes, because the other 2 that I have left I own physically, and I have The Odyssey, which was translated by Richard Lattimore from the Homeric Greek, and I also have A Magical Girl Retires, which I don't remember the name of the author or the translator, but that is translated from Korean. So I get to read 1 or both of those in March. That's super exciting. And then the third slip that I got, actually, there's 2 together in this. That feels a little bit weird. I don't know what to do, if I should pick the outer one, the inner one. Maybe I should do both and we'll just have 4 hrcyed focuses this month. You know what? Why not? We'll get a little crazy here, but we'll do this one first. Around the World. I don't know how many I have left for this. This challenge is to read a book set in or by an author from each continent. Antarctica is optional. And I think I've done maybe 3 of them, so I'm like halfway done with this, but I truly don't remember what books I have put in place for this, so we will find out later on what I'll be reading for this. And by later on, I mean at some point during the month, I'll just mood read something. But then our 4th little bonus one, we have Q's reviews. Okay, so this is 3 books recommended by Q through her different avenues of talking about books, you know, like her mini reviews, her full-blown vlogs, things like that. I have already read one, I think, and I'm currently reading one right now in February, so I should only have one more after that. So could I finish this prompt next month? That sounds pretty great, so I'm kind of glad that I got this extra one. I'll deal with those later. I won't pick specific books for those right now, but I will update you when I do my March wrap-up on if they covered prompts. Actually, I don't want to promise that. I'm kind of forgetful, so we'll see. I will try and remember to tell you if books I read in March cover different hrcyed prompts. I don't know if I've done that in my wrap-ups thus far, but we can always start doing that whenever. Alright, so the third and final way I will be picking my TBR for the month is with my TBR game, which features this deck of cards. This is kind of actually only half of it, because I've already pulled these cards over the past year and some change, and I'm leaving them out so we can see some of the other prompts. This is the Adventurer's Tarot by Weirdworks. It is not a tarot deck, it is an oracle deck. It's just called the Adventurer's Tarot, and it is D&D inspired. There are 2 different kinds of cards. There are class cards, of which there are like 2 versions of the same card in different colorways, and if I pull one of those, then there are 2 prompt options I get to choose between, unless of course I have already pulled the partner of that card and used one of the prompts, then I have to use the unused one. There are also enemy cards, which come in sets, and so each of the cards in that set follow a theme. For example, the dragons have to do with the size of the book, so there's the 1, 2, 3, and 4 of dragons, and they have to do with either the shortest or longest book, like in length, and the other 2 prompts are the shortest and tallest books. Very loud car going by, that might have even been a bus, I don't know. I'm very scared to get the dragon cards because one of them is, like I said, the longest book on my physical TBR, and the longest book on my physical TBR right now is War and Peace, which is 1,200 pages, and I really don't want to get that. So I am going to pull 3 cards, and we're only going to do 3. We're not going to do a bonus one because I got a bonus from my hrcyed prompts for some reason. I'm so nervous. I saw a dragon card. I don't know if it was the one specifically I don't want to get, but I saw one while I was shuffling this beforehand, and then I did a million extra shuffles to kind of not know where it was in the deck, and that scares me even more, not knowing where it is. But like I said, I did shuffle it, but we were going to do a little bit of a, sure, right here, deck split, just to prove that I'm not putting specific cards on top to get them. This is truly random. Oh boy, let's see. So, first card for March is... Oh no. Oh, of course I get one of the giants. This is the 4 of giants, and I really don't know which one this is. Okay, everything's fine. Let's pull the second card. We have the Fighter. Great. This is one of the ones where there's 2 cards with different colorways, and I get to choose between prompts. And our third and final card for March is the Developer. Ooh, okay. There are 3, like, special cards at the end of the deck that are just kind of on their own, and the Developer is one of them. So I will go consult my little cheat sheet of prompts to figure out what prompts are associated with these cards, and hope that it's not forcing me to read War and Peace. But then I will come back and tell you about them and the books that I have picked for the prompts. Book choosing me here to come in and say that I'm an idiot. I saw the giant and thought, of course there's another really loud bus going by, and thought that those were the cards that do the size of the books. No, those are the dragons, and I literally said they were the dragons, and I'm still dumb and got it backwards. So we do escape the longest book on my TBR, but the giant is still a really hard prompt. The Four of Giants, I should say, as the card that I pulled. So I'm gonna get back to choosing my books, and I will be right back to tell you what I'll be reading. Okay, friends, it has been a hot minute. And by a hot minute, I mean almost an hour of me trying to pick books to fit these prompts. It was a bit of a struggle, but we're fine. Everything's fine. So, as I said, the Four of Giants is not a possible card to get the longest book on my TBR because those are dragons. I don't know why. I thought it was the Giants for a second there, even though I had literally said just a few minutes before that it was the dragon cards that had that prompt. The Giants do have to do with the size of the book, though, specifically page counts. And The Four of Giants is a book with 600 or more pages. Still getting a big book, but at least it's not War and Peace, you know? I mean, it could have been War and Peace because that is definitely 600 plus, but it's not War and Peace. Instead, I'm going to be going with The Sweet Far Thing by Gemma Doyle, which is over 800 pages, so larger by a lot than it needed to be, but this is a hrcyed book. It does not fit any of the hrcyed prompts that I pulled for my hrcyed focus, but it will still cover some prompts for that. It is also finishing out a trilogy, so it needs to be read, and I will be doing that in March, I guess. So, yeah. I do not like how I have this in hardcover because I do have the first two in paperback, and normally that doesn't bother me, but this has deckled edges, and I don't like deckled edges, so I do wish I had the paperback. Also, a paperback with 600 pages would be a little bit more manageable to hold than a hardcover with 600 pages. Or I guess 800. It is 800 something. Yeah, I'll be finishing off this trilogy. Then I pulled the fighter, and I have in fact pulled the first fighter card already, so I only had one prompt option. I could not do a hyped book. I had to do a social media find, and I scrolled through Goodreads for a little while, and two different people that I am friends with, I don't remember who they were, but two different people have recently picked up Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I have this really funky edition, which also has deckled edges, so I'm mad about that, but also the cover is really cool. And then there's the back. I will not be watching the movie of Wuthering Heights. I've seen all the criticisms, and I agree wholeheartedly with pretty much all the criticisms that I have heard without even having seen the movie. I really enjoy Wuthering Heights. I read it several years ago, and I used to have it as part of a bind-up with Jane Eyre, but I didn't like how massive that book was, so I got rid of it. And I found this at a thrift store last year, and I'm hoping to maybe one day get Jane Eyre in this same edition because I think that they're really cool. But yeah, not something I was expecting to pick up, but I guess it's timely. So that is the second book on my TBR. Then the third card that I pulled was the developer, and the prompt for this is a Chaos Queen pick. The Chaos Queens, if you don't know, are my friends Violet, Crystal, and Marta. The four of us used to stream together on a semi-regular basis, and so I messaged the group chat. I'm like, hey, someone pick a book for me, and Crystal got back to me first, so she got to pick, and she has picked Faithbreaker by Hannah Kaner. This is the third book in the Fallen Gods trilogy, so finishing out another series. Great, fantastic. Also a hrcyed book. Also not fitting any of the prompts that I had pulled for my hrcyed focus, but everything is fine. I'm only panicking a little bit about my reading for March, but like I feel like I always panic a little bit once I make my TBR because I'm always like, oh my god, that's so many books, but like I read a lot of books, so it'll be totally fine. So, those are my picks for the month. Very crazy, very unexpected, but I am still super excited to be reading these books, to be finishing a series. These series that I have told you about are not ones for my series slasher vlog, so I'll be continuing even more series there, which is great because my main focus for 2026 is to continue and complete series, so I'm glad that I will be continuing to do that. I mean, we are still in Q1 of the year, so I would hope that my goals are still going strong, but you never know. Anyway, I am going to stop rambling here. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone!